A man walks into a coin shop with $10,000 in cash. He leaves 20 minutes later with almost nothing, because the shelves are already empty. That is not a rare story anymore. Across the United States, dealers are watching something happen that hasn't happened at this scale in years. Cases sitting bare, waiting lists growing, and customers being told the same 4 words: "We're out of stock." A visual: an empty glass display case, a handwritten "sold out" sign taped to the counter. So what is actually going on inside these shops? Is this real scarcity or something else entirely? And if regular people, not hedge funds, not billionaires or years, are lining up to buy a metal most of us haven't thought about since science class, what do they know that the rest of us don't? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why silver is disappearing off shelves, why the price you see on your phone might have almost nothing to do with what you'd actually pay at a counter, and why some analysts believe this could be one of the most important financial stories of the decade, one most people are still completely unaware of. If you're interested in money, investing, gold, silver, and protecting your financial future, subscribe to Money Insights and like this video, because every week we break down the biggest financial stories in simple English. Let's start with a number that should stop you in your tracks. As of early August 2026, spot silver, the official market price you'd see quoted on a financial app, sits close to $59 an ounce. That's the price that fluctuates by the second, driven by investment supply, demand, and other trading factors. That alone is remarkable. Just a few years ago, silver traded in the 20s. But here's the part that confuses almost everyone the first time they hear it: that $59 number is not what you pay at a coin shop. Visual: a phone screen showing a live silver price ticker next to a coin shop price tag showing a noticeably higher number. Walk into a real shop, ask for a 1-ounce silver coin, and the price on the receipt could be meaningfully higher than the spot price flashing on the screen. That gap is called a premium, and it's the first clue that something unusual is happening beneath the surface of this market. A premium, in simple terms, is the extra amount you pay above the raw melt value of the metal. It covers minting, shipping, insurance, and dealer costs. In calm markets, that premium might only be a small percentage. But right now, dealers across the country are reporting premiums that have widened noticeably. Because premiums exist precisely because spot price reflects paper market trading of metal that may never physically move, while bullion buyers want allocated deliverable product they can actually hold. In other words, the number on your screen and the metal in your hand are increasingly 2 different markets. Now, here's where everything changes. This isn't just an American story. It isn't even new. It's the 6th year in a row, soon to be the 7th, that the world has consumed more silver than it has produced. Visual: a simple animated bar chart showing a shrinking gap between supply and demand lines over 6 years. According to industry researchers at the Silver Institute, 2026 is expected to mark the 6th consecutive year the global silver market runs a deficit, meaning demand is outrunning both mine output and recycling combined. The projected shortfall is significant, around 67 million ounces against total global supply of roughly 1.05 billion ounces. That might sound abstract. So picture it like this. Imagine a savings account that's been slowly drained every single year for 6 years straight. And nobody's been putting money back in fast enough to keep up. Eventually, the balance runs thin. That's essentially what's happening to the world's available above-ground silver. Almost nobody noticed this at first, because for years the shortfall was quietly absorbed. Every year, that gap gets covered by drawing down inventories that were built up over decades, but a buffer like that only drains once. Why does industrial demand matter so much to this story? Because silver isn't just jewelry or coins. It's a critical, irreplaceable ingredient inside modern technology. Industrial fabrication alone consumes around 650 million ounces of silver a year, used in solar cells, electronics, electric vehicles, and the ongoing global AI data center build-out. You cannot build a solar cell without silver. That demand doesn't pause just because the metal gets expensive. Think about what that means for a parent watching their retirement account, or a factory worker whose paycheck depends on manufacturing. This isn't a Wall Street abstraction. Every solar panel installed on a rooftop, every electric vehicle rolling off an assembly line, every new server rack built for artificial intelligence, all of it quietly pulls more silver out of an already tightening supply. For a retiree living on a fixed income, this story matters in a different, quieter way. Precious metals have historically been viewed by some savers as a hedge against inflation, a way of holding value outside a bank account when the cost of everyday life keeps climbing. That doesn't mean silver is risk-free, and it certainly doesn't move in a straight line. But it may help explain why an older investor watching their grocery bill rise might feel differently about a shrinking metal supply than a young trader watching a chart on a screen. For a worker whose factory depends on components built with silver, a tightening supply could eventually influence costs further up the manufacturing chain. something few people connect back to a coin shop counter, but the thread runs there all the same. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn, because industrial demand alone doesn't explain empty coin shop shelves. Something else has been happening simultaneously, and it's much more human. Visual, a line of customers outside a small coin and bullion shop, a cash-only limited quantities sign in the window. Ordinary investors have been walking back into the physical market, not in a trickle, but in a rush. According to the World Silver Survey 2026, global coin and bar demand jumped 14% to 217.7 million ounces in 2025, the first annual increase since 2022, and that increase happened while liquid, available silver was becoming harder and harder to find. Here's the part most people miss. This wasn't a slow, steady climb. After 2 years of investors mostly walking away from physical bullion, the return happened in a rush concentrated into just the final 4 months of last year. As prices broke record after record and dealers began rationing what inventory they had left. Rationing. Let that word sit for a second. That's not marketing language. That's dealers deciding how much any single customer is allowed to buy, because they aren't confident they can restock in time. And the story isn't confined to the US. In 2025, physical demand for silver jumped 13% worldwide, mirrored by a 14% increase in silver coin and bar purchases, with buyers in India, Europe, East Asia, and the Middle East particularly active, suggesting North American investors may actually still be behind the curve. That surge in physical demand strained supplies globally, triggering product shortages, rising dealer premiums, and several silver squeeze scenarios around the world. So if you felt like you're late to something, you might not be. The people rushing coin shop counters in the US may only be catching up to what buyers overseas started months earlier. Visual, a bustling jewelry and bullion market street in Mumbai, contrasted with a quiet suburban American strip mall coin shop. In places like India, buying physical silver isn't a niche investing habit. It's woven into culture, tradition, and family savings going back generations. When prices pull back even slightly, buyers there historically tend to step in quickly, treating a dip the way an American shopper might treat a seasonal sale. That cultural habit, multiplied across hundreds of millions of households, can move global demand in ways that a single country's stock market never could on its own. Here's a hidden connection worth pausing on. Coin shops themselves are quietly changing because of all this. Industry voices in the rare coin business have noted that as bullion prices climb sharply, some collectors and investors start looking past ordinary bullion coins toward historic, pre-1965 silver coinage and rare numismatic pieces, items whose value isn't only tied to melt weight. One well-known figure in the rare coin trade observed that the biggest operational headache for dealers right now isn't finding buyers. It's managing cash flow, given the sheer volume and size of trades coming through the door. A shop that used to handle modest weekly transactions is now processing purchases that would have seemed extraordinary just 2 or 3 years ago. Now let's connect a piece of this puzzle that almost never makes headlines. What's happening thousands of miles away, deep inside the machinery of the London bullion market, because it directly explains why your local coin shop keeps running dry. The visual? A bank vault, stacks of silver bars under fluorescent light, a shipping container being loaded onto a cargo plane. Silver doesn't just sit still. Large volumes of it are lent, borrowed, and physically shipped between vaults in London and warehouses on the COMEX exchange in the United States, depending on where demand is highest. When that system gets stressed, the cost of simply borrowing metal, known as the lease rate, spikes dramatically. And it has. Industry reporting indicates that at the Royal Canadian Mint, one of the largest silver coin producers in the world, lease rates that the Mint normally doesn't even factor into its cost models recently jumped from around 12% to over 100%. Some mints had already completed their production runs for the year and chose to hold off on producing more coins until financing conditions settled down. Think about what that actually means. It's not that the raw metal vanished from the earth. It's that moving it, financing it, and minting it into coins became so expensive that even the world's biggest mints hit pause. Part of that pressure traces back to a shortage of physical silver sitting in London vaults, forcing banks to try shifting metal from American warehouses to London, a move that alone can add roughly $2.50 per ounce in transport and financing costs. History tells a very different story than most people assume here. This isn't the first time silver markets have seized up like this. Analysts studying the pattern point back to 1980 and 2011, two other moments when exchanges were forced to raise margin requirements to cool speculative buying. In 1980, silver famously spiked toward $50 an ounce amid an attempt by a wealthy Texas family to corner the physical market, before margin hikes and regulatory intervention brought prices crashing back down within weeks. That episode still shapes how regulators and exchanges react today. Margin requirements exist in part because of what happened decades ago. It's a reminder that today's rally, however structurally different in its causes, is unfolding in a market that has a long memory of speculative excess. The nominal record high for silver, in fact, was set just this year, 121.67 an ounce, reached on January 29, 2026, before the price pulled back to where it sits today. Visual, a simple price chart spiking sharply upward in January, then curving back down, with historical spike markers for 1980 and 2011. So here's a question worth sitting with. If silver already hit an all-time high earlier this year and has since pulled back, why are coin shops still struggling to keep shelves stocked? Shouldn't a price correction cool demand down? This is the part that surprises even seasoned investors, because in physical bullion markets, price pullbacks don't necessarily mean less buying. Sometimes they mean the opposite. When prices dip, disciplined buyers often see it as a discount window rather than a red flag. Analysts expect that momentum established in late 2025 will continue carrying forward, with the Silver Institute projecting that coin and bar demand could grow by an additional 18% in 2026, potentially reaching 257.6 million ounces, the highest level since the 2022 pandemic-era peak. Notably, much of that expected growth is tied to a projected 57% recovery specifically in the U.S. market, though even that would only erase last year's losses, rather than reach the prior all-time peak. Let's bring this back to something you can actually picture. Imagine a family that watched grocery prices, rent, and everyday costs climb year after year. For some of them, gold has always felt out of reach, too expensive per ounce to start with. Silver, by contrast, offers what analysts sometimes call a lower entry point into the same idea, owning something tangible outside of a bank account or brokerage app. Market observers note that retail investors are often drawn to physical silver specifically because of its lower entry price compared to gold, while larger institutional investors tend to be more sensitive to shifting sentiment and industrial growth expectations. That difference matters. It may help explain why coin shops, not just trading desks, are where this story is actually visible. Here's an unexpected statistic that puts real numbers behind the mood in this market. In a survey of retail investors conducted late last year, 57% said they expected silver to trade above $100 an ounce sometime in 2026, while another 27% predicted a range between $80 and $100. That's not a fringe opinion. That's a majority of everyday investors, positioning for continued strength even after the metal had already rallied dramatically. Visual, a simple pie-style graphic showing the survey breakdown of price expectations. Now, it's important to pause here and separate excitement from certainty, because not everyone agrees on what happens next, and a responsible investor should hear both sides. Some veteran technical analysts have urged caution. One prominent Elliott Wave analyst has suggested the current rally could be entering its final stages, warning investors to prepare for the possibility of a multi-year correction that might begin sometime in 2026, describing it as potentially the end of this long-term cycle for both gold and silver. At the same time, he acknowledged that silver had already met the minimum threshold of his long-term targets, and that as long as key support levels hold, the rally may still have further room to run before that turn arrives. That's the honest, uncomfortable truth about markets like this one. The same data can support two very different conclusions, depending on the time frame you're watching. Historically, markets often overshoot in both directions, further up than logic suggests during a rally, and further down than expected during a correction. Nobody rings a bell at the top or the bottom, so where does that leave the person standing at a coin shop counter right now, watching an employee point at an empty shelf? Let's zoom out to the bigger pattern connecting everything we've covered. This isn't only about coins, it's about a structural shift in how silver moves through the world. Industrial demand now accounts for the majority of global silver usage, roughly 59%, pulled by solar panels, electric vehicles, and consumer electronics that simply cannot function without it. Layer investment demand on top of that, everyday people buying coins and bars as a hedge against uncertainty, and you get two enormous forces pulling from the same shrinking pool of physical metal at the same time. Visual, two arrows converging on a single shrinking pile of silver bars, one labeled industry, one labeled investors. Even major mints are feeling both pressures simultaneously. In its most recent quarterly report, the Royal Mint in Britain noted that the value of physical silver bullion purchased by investors increased 85% year on year, with digital silver investment products rising by 162% compared to the same period the year before. Even in a market where prices had already pulled back from January's highs, the smaller precious metals market, silver, continued attracting retail investors, with silver prices holding support around $55 an ounce since early July. That word, support, matters here. It's the price level where enough buyers consistently step in that the price stops falling. Think of it like a floor beneath a trampoline. Every time silver has approached that floor recently, buying has picked back up rather than fallen through. So if someone watching this video is actually thinking about walking into a shop themselves, what should they understand before they do? This is where education matters more than excitement. A dealer's advertised price is never the whole picture. Buyers should always ask what the premium is over spot. Compare it across 2 or 3 dealers if possible. And remember that premiums tend to compress during quieter periods and widen sharply during high demand stretches like holiday season or moments of acute market stress. None of that is a guarantee of anything. It's simply the mechanics of how this particular market behaves, the same way knowing about closing costs matters before buying a house. Historically, patient buyers who understand these mechanics tend to fare differently than buyers who rush in during the loudest, most emotional moment of a squeeze. Now, here's a reality check, because this video isn't meant to make you panic or rush anywhere. Analysts researching this shortage consistently draw an important distinction. Even during the sharpest retail squeezes, coins and bars generally remain available. The shortage people feel at the dealer counter is often more of a premium event than a true permanent disappearance of metal. The structural deficit is real. The empty vault, no silver left on earth narrative is not. That distinction is easy to lose in the noise. Some corners of the internet love to frame every price swing as an imminent collapse or an overnight fortune. Reality tends to be slower, messier, and far more interesting than either extreme. There's one more thread worth pulling before we close this story, because it explains why so many analysts describe this as a multi-decade trend rather than a passing headline. The artificial intelligence build-out sweeping through the global economy right now runs on data centers. And data centers run on components that depend heavily on silver's unmatched electrical conductivity. Every new server farm built to train and run AI systems adds another quiet, steady buyer to a market that was already short of metal before that demand even existed. Combine that with a renewable energy transition that leans on solar panels requiring silver paste in their cells, and you start to see why some analysts believe industrial demand for silver may only grow from here, regardless of what any single year's investment demand does. That's very different from a speculative bubble that depends entirely on excitement to keep going. Bubbles need new buyers rushing in forever. A structural deficit just needs the world to keep doing what it's already doing, building solar farms, manufacturing electric vehicles, and expanding computing infrastructure for the underlying pressure to persist. Visual: rows of server racks in a data center transitioning to a solar farm at sunset, both glowing with the same warm light. So let's return to where we started. The man who walked into a coin shop with cash and walked out mostly empty-handed. What he experienced wasn't some isolated inconvenience. It was a visible symptom of a market running 6 years deep into deficit, squeezed further by lease rate spikes 8,000 miles away in London, accelerated by a 14% jump in global coin and bar buying, and amplified by industrial demand from technologies, solar panels, electric vehicles, AI infrastructure, that quietly compete with him for the same shrinking pile of metal. Visual: a slow pullback shot from the coin shop counter to a wide view of the whole store, empty shelves visible in the background. None of this guarantees where the price goes next. Markets, as history keeps reminding us, rarely move in a straight line, and some analysts believe a cooling off period could still be ahead, even within a longer bull cycle. But the underlying dynamic, more silver being consumed by industry and investors than the world is currently producing, is not a rumor or a headline trick. It's tracked, documented, and repeated year after year by the very institutions responsible for measuring this market. The next time you see a silver price flashing on a screen, remember what you now know that most people watching that same number don't. That price is only half the story. The other half is playing out quietly in the back rooms of coin shops, in London lending markets, and inside solar farms and data centers most of us will never see. All of them reaching for the same shrinking resource. If you learned something new today, make sure to subscribe to Money Insights and like this video. More powerful financial insights are coming next.